Okay, in this video we're still going to talk about Chapter 4 Matrix Logic, but instead of dealing with 2 items to compare, we're going to compare 3. So the steps to doing that is you write down what's being compared and you organize it in a way that makes sense to you. You make that matrix comparing all of the items. You may need to make an adjunct list, that's a list of extra information that's presented that you might not be able to put into your matrix right away. You start using the clues to fill in the matrix and you eliminate possibilities, and then you can do some cross-correlating, and what that means is, an example would be if John eats chicken and the person from Texas likes chicken, then John is from Texas. Okay? It's kind of an if-then statement. So let's go through our first example. So we have Tom, John, Fred, and Bill. They're friends whose occupations are in no particular order. They are a nurse, a secretary, a teacher, and a pilot. They attend a picnic regularly, and each one brought his favorite meat, which is hamburger, chicken, steak, and hot dogs, to barbecue. From the clues below, determine each man's occupation and favorite meat. Okay, so in this case, I'm not even going to read the clues yet. I'm just going to make my matrix. So I'm going to write the men's names down. So we have Tom, John, Fred, and Bill. And some occupations. We have a nurse, a secretary, a teacher, and a pilot. And they all brought some food. They brought burgers and chicken, steak, and hot dogs. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go like this. Okay, so we got a matrix going horizontal, but we're also going to have it go vertical as well, because Tom may have brought a burger, but maybe the nurse brought a burger. So we're going to put the nurse down here, and the secretary, oops, we're going to put the food down here, my fault. We're going to put the burgers here, the chicken, the steak, and the hot dogs. Okay, the reason we did that is because we need to also compare the occupations with the type of food that was brought. Okay, there's my matrix. So let's read number 1. So number 1, Tom is neither the nurse or the teacher. So Tom isn't the nurse or teacher. Okay, so Tom, we're going to go no here and no here. Fred and the pilot played jazz band together. So that's basically saying that Fred isn't the pilot, but likes music. But likes music. Okay, so Fred is not the pilot. We're going to put a no there. Okay. Tom brought hot dogs. Okay, so Tom brought hot dogs. Okay, so Tom brought hot dogs. And so since he's not the nurse nor the teacher, So the nurse or teacher didn't bring hot dogs. Okay, so the nurse didn't bring hot dogs and the teacher didn't bring hot dogs. And that's because Tom isn't the nurse and he's not the teacher, but he brought hot dogs. So Tom did not bring any of the rest. Okay, so Bill sat next to the burger fan, so 4. So Bill didn't bring burgers because he sat next to the burger fan. So Bill did not bring burgers. And he didn't bring steak because he sat next to the steak lover. Or steak. Okay, so Bill didn't bring steak either. Okay, we're going to put no, no, and no. Now if we look here, he didn't bring hot dogs either, so that must mean that he brought chicken. So Bill brought chicken. Okay. The secretary does not play a musical instrument, so the secretary isn't musical. Okay, so we have something about music here. Fred isn't a pilot, but he likes music. So Fred likes music. The secretary is not musical. So not Fred. So Fred is not the secretary. Okay? The secretary does not play and he doesn't sing. Okay, so now let's go back up here. The burger lover and the teacher are not musically inclined. So that means that the burger lover and the teacher are not musically inclined, so one of them must be the secretary. So the burger lover isn't Fred. Because so we just said Fred is not the burger lover because he's not musically inclined, and we said that Fred likes music. Okay, so John brought burgers. So Fred can't be a teacher either. So Fred's not the teacher. So he's the nurse. Okay, so now we can start filling some stuff in. So Fred brought steak. Okay, so Fred is the nurse, and Fred brought steak, so the nurse brought steak. So we're doing some cross-referencing here. Okay. Let's see. We don't know what Bill is yet. Let's see if we can figure out. Okay, so the burger lover and the teacher are not musically inclined. Bill sat next to the burger fan. So Bill sat next. The secretary does not play an instrument or sing. What does 2 say? Fred and the pilot play in a jazz band together. So Fred, we already talked about Fred. What was one? Tom is neither the nurse nor the teacher. The burger lover and the teacher are not musically inclined. I'm looking at step 3. Okay, here we go. The burger lover and the teacher are not musically inclined. The secretary does not play an instrument or sing. So that means that John brought the burgers. He's not musically inclined, and neither is the secretary, so that means John is the secretary. There we go. And now we can fill in some stuff. That makes Tom the pilot. That makes Bill the teacher. And now we can fill in the bottom part. Tom is the pilot. He brought hot dogs, so the pilot brought hot dogs. John is the secretary. He brought burgers, so the secretary brought burgers. And that leaves the teacher bringing chicken. And now we have it filled up. And now we can write down our answer. So we'll write down our answer is Tom. He's the pilot. And he brought hot dogs. And then we have John, who's the secretary. And he brought burgers. And then we have Fred. He's the nurse. And he brought chicken. And we have Bill. He's the teacher. And he brought, I think I got Fred wrong. Fred brought steak. Sorry. Because the teacher brought chicken. There we go. And that's the answer. So if you notice, as I was going through that, it might have been a little confusing. I was continuously rereading the clues that they gave me in order to try to figure out the matrix logic. And sometimes you have to read it over and over and over again to get it. Alright, so that is a little bit more complicated matrix logic. I hope that helps when you do your assignment.